All right, my beautiful Sagittarius, this is your 2022 review, and we're looking at the astrology. I have my notes right here, and I will also be pulling cards for each of the transits and major things happening to gain more clarity around how this might affect you. And I just wanted to announce that I do have 2022 readings for your personal astrology chart if that's something that you are interested in. The general readings are wonderful, but it's very helpful to have your personal chart looked at so you know what days things might actually be happening for you or what you might actually go through. So let's start off by looking at the nodes. So we are having the nodes change signs from Gemini, Sag into Taurus and Scorpio on January 18th. So the North Node moving into Taurus is going to be in your 6th house of your work, your health, and your daily routines, that kind of thing. The South Node is going to be in your 12th house, which is very interesting because the 12th house is a lot about letting go. It's about things from the past, releasing, ending cycles, and having the South Node there can create karmic endings. The South Node is also about releasing or stepping away from the old. And so these have very similar meanings. And so what I feel like is going to happen for you guys is that I definitely feel like you will be wrapping up or closing out some long overdue cycles in your life. And that's going to look different for everyone. But for a lot of you guys, it might be somewhat psychological in nature because we are talking about Scorpio after all. And so you guys, I feel like, are going to go through a process of releasing and purging to a greater extent than others. I think we're all going to go through that with the South Node being in Scorpio, but I feel like being in the 12th house, you guys are releasing even more than other groups are. Having the North Node in your 6th house is helping you get really clear on what it is you're working towards in your life. This is about getting really organized in your daily routines. This is about taking care of your health, working on the foundations of your future in a dedicated and consistent way. It's asking us to step up in a level of responsibility within our work or our daily life in order to match the vibration of our dreams. And so I think that's why I pulled a 10 of Pentacles for that for you guys. I think it's this really solid kind of foundational energy where you are working towards this 10 of Pentacles, where you are working towards financial success, career success, but the 6th house is where we put in the sweat equity. It's the grind, essentially, before we get the recognition. And so I think this could be a year in which you guys are being called to grind in some type of way, whether that means taking care of your body in a different way, getting a little bit healthier, whether that's working on your mental health really consistently, whether that's showing up in your career more productively and efficiently. Regardless, it's about putting in the daily effort to build something for your long-term happiness and success. Having the South Node in the 12th house, as I mentioned, is a lot about releasing. And I think for a lot of you guys, the 12th house can show the wrapping up of a cycle. It is the last house of the zodiac before a planet is reborn into the 1st house with a new mission, a new energy, a new life. And I like that you have the 10 of Wands here because this is about having this burden of unsustainable responsibility or unsustainable efforts in your life. So this person is exhausted. There's only so much longer this person can hold on to these wands and maintain his energy. He's about to drop them. He's about to lose his shit. So I feel like that's a lot of what you guys are releasing now. Is like any area of your life where you feel like you are holding on really tight and it's becoming heavier and heavier and more challenging to upkeep that thing in your life or that area of your life. You are releasing it. It's like the ending of a burden that has been long overdue, or the ending of a cycle that has been long overdue. And what it makes room for is some beautiful healing because the 12th house is the house of spirituality. It's the house of divine consciousness and our connection to the divine. So after you are releasing or ending this cycle, it could be multiple cycles, you are stepping into a phase of regeneration or rejuvenation where you are able to reflect, kind of pause a little bit and heal. And so I think a lot of you guys are going to be really connected to source, to the divine, and also maybe a little bit to your ancestors too. I feel like your ancestors are coming in this year to support you, to end some of the cycles that maybe have been going on generationally. So that's probably why it's the 10 of Wands, especially. It's like this has been long overdue, not just for you, but maybe for your parents and your parents' parents. And so this has a lineage within you. And the star to me is telling me that you are supported from the heavens and from your ancestors to release this baggage and fully heal and move on. And I think you're going to feel so much lighter. And then after that, the energy steps into the Page of Pentacles, where you have this possibility. I kind of feel like this is more so supposed to be over here. Where when you're moving into the North Node, you have this potential to start experimenting a little bit more, to start trying new things, to build up to the 10 of Pentacles. So this might be for you guys like dabbling in new ways of taking care of yourself or new ways of doing work. And this is kind of like the trial and error phase. So you're not going to just be at the 10 of Pentacles. This is the vision and this is the goal. But the Page of Pentacles is how we work to get there. It's how we experiment and tweak things to fit our needs, to fully discover what it is that we are meant to do or how we are meant to live, and eventually achieve that 10 of Pentacles. So I feel like you guys are entering this phase of work and testing and dabbling with things and releasing a lot of things from some cycles of the past that are no longer meant to be here and healing them. So that's what I feel like the nodes are representing for you guys. Now let's talk about Jupiter entering into Pisces. So Jupiter was with Saturn in Aquarius all year, and now it's entering into Pisces. It did dip in there May to July of last year, or sorry, of 2021, which is kind of at the time I'm be filming this. So Jupiter and Pisces, you got a taste of it May through July of 2021. So we're going to see that go full-fledged in your 4th house this year. And that is going to, I think, improve a lot of our relationships, especially within the home, because the 4th house is about our home and our family. So it's definitely a time in which you can see prosperity within your familial relationships, or prosperity if you're trying to buy a real estate, literally within buying homes and investing in homes and that type of thing. The 4th house is also a lot about our emotional needs. And so it's a time when I think that you will expand and grow a lot in terms of understanding and taking care of your emotional needs. And I think that has a lot to do with this Ace of Cups, which is representing having some beautiful relationships or an overflow of love and compassion and understanding. And even I think you could wake up to a lot of spiritual gifts with this star here, with the South Node in your 12th house. You might even like find spiritual gifts that are from past lifetimes, because the South Node is about our past lives and the 12th house is about our spiritual practices and understanding. And with the Ace of Cups and that star card, it's giving me this feeling that some of you guys might awaken some of those innate gifts this year. On top of that, again, I feel like it's an overflowing of emotion and feeling like you have just a really strong foundation within yourself. And I think the Hierophant is saying that some of you guys could enter into some level of commitment within the home. So some of you guys could maybe like enter into a new relationship where you move in with a partner. Maybe some of you could buy property. Some of you could move somewhere new. There is some like traditional thing with the Hierophant that you guys are following up with. Like, so some kind of further commitment or investment. I'm kind of feeling like with this Devil card, which is Capricorn energy, and the Hierophant, which is tradition, both of these have very Saturnian energy of responsibility and commitment, which is interesting because you don't have Saturn here. But with Jupiter here, I feel like you guys maybe will take on more commitment in some fashion. But with Jupiter, it's going to give you a lot of blessings and opportunities of growth through that commitment. So it's not like struggles and hardships that Saturn brings. It's giving you the potential to buy a property and then see it grow and have a lot of money, or moving with someone and like have things go pretty smoothly. So it's like this energy of really being able to tap into your home, family, environment for all of its goodness and all of its richness. The Devil card, I feel like, is also telling me that there may be some habitual patterns that you guys are starting to work on this year, especially with the North Node in your 6th house. I feel like you guys are being asked to become a little bit responsible and kind of looking at maybe the different ways in which you can be limiting yourself through like comfortable habits, because the fourth house is a lot about ways in which we stay within our comfort zone or kind of hidden from society. So having Jupiter move through here, I think, is going to help you explore those aspects of yourself and try to find healthier ways to meet your needs without keeping you small or overly comfortable. So that's something else I'm seeing with this Devil card. But having Jupiter move into the fourth house means that Saturn is going to be moving into your third house. And so I definitely feel like that's going to create a little bit more hardship on the area of the third house, because wherever Saturn is by itself, it's not getting its aid from Jupiter anymore, and it's just going to create this need to put a lot of effort into that area of our life. The third house is about our siblings, so some of you guys might have a more strained relationship with your siblings or have to work a lot harder on your relationship with them than normal. Some of you guys might find that communication with friends or partners or just in general is a little bit more arduous or strained, and you have to put effort there and be a lot more careful about how you go about conversations. The third house is also a lot about movement and activity, and so I find that we have I feel like the third and the sixth house have similar meanings in terms of doing work. Like both of them require us to like have this level of busyness, but the sixth house I see more as responsibility, which is where your north node is, developing that consistency. And I see the third house more as like busy work or networking, things that don't have a super tangible, like grounded result, and can feel like at times is running our hamster wheel a little bit. Let me see if one more card wants to come out for this Saturn in the third, and then I'll kind of talk about that. I also want to mention that Jupiter will dip into Aries in May for a few months. And so we will get a little bit of a different experience then, but mostly it will be in your fourth house. All right, I feel like these cards are for something completely different. They seem very positive. So we're going to leave that there. Okay, what I'm seeing with Saturn in the third with the reverse Seven of Pentacles is that kind of what I was saying before, that I think that the Seven of Pentacles upright is all about working on things long term, having this vision, putting in that daily grind and that effort to build something really substantial, and to not be impatient. It's like a consistent watering, not trying to pull out the seed before it blossoms, like letting things go on their own. And I feel like you guys with this Nine of Wands might kind of get yourself to a point of exhaustion. The Nine of Wands is about resilience, and really it's kind of like the 10. I mean, they're very similar, the 9 and 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands is your breaking point, and the 9 of Wands is that step right before the breaking point. It's where we have to kind of move through the muck and the challenge of the messy middle, or like the one of the harder chapters or parts of achieving some kind of goal. And so I feel like you guys might be kind of wary or tired and a little bit burnt out with having Saturn in the third house. And I think for a lot of you, it's because you're doing a lot of busy work, or you're doing a lot of things that aren't moving you towards this really long-term goal with the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. It's like a lot of the things that you're doing are more short-term or urgent, and it's going to exhaust you. So I feel like this warning here with Saturn the third is to be extremely mindful of your output in terms of energy and where that is going long term. Like, is this actually building something for you, or is this spinning your wheels, wasting your energy? And I will say the same thing with your mindset as well. Are your thoughts actually helping you? With Saturn in the third house, there can be quite a bit of anxiety. There can be quite a bit of negative thinking in general, or even negative communication. So you guys are going to have to really be wary of those three things. How are my thoughts? How is my communication? And how is my energy output? And kind of get really clear and honest with yourself about those so that you don't hurt yourself unnecessarily. I just saw 444 on the camera, so I think that says a lot to you guys about working on things that are really foundational and really leaning into this Jupiter in the fourth house energy, where where you can basically like center around home and family and the growth that you have there. Okay. I also wanted to mention some good months for you guys. The sun will be moving into your first house in November and December, as well as Venus. So these are months in which you can attract more recognition in your career, better relationships, better finances, and just kind of like more attractiveness and general magnetism. So those are good months for you guys to make moves or have clarity in your life. Doesn't mean they're always going to be the best months of the year at all, but it can turn into something really beautiful, and it has a lot of potential depending on what else is going on in your chart. Now I want to talk to you guys about Venus retrograde in Capricorn. So that's actually happening right now, and it's hanging out with Pluto for the entire month of December, and it's going to be retrograde until pretty much the entire month of January, until January 29th. And then it's not even going to leave the sign of Capricorn until March. So Venus is going through a really big transition right now where it's asking us to examine more fully our relationships, our self-worth, and our money. And it's bringing up a lot of insecurities around those areas of our life and within us. And it's bringing up any issues from the past that we have not fully resolved. So pay attention to your dreams right now. Pay attention to any accidents or money situations where money is draining you or like being drained from you in some way. Pay attention to any relationship issues that come up. All of these things are really purposely happening now so that you can live more fully in alignment with your values. Venus in Capricorn is asking us, what do I need? What is the basics, the foundation, and not go overboard? And so I think that this is your time, especially to examine that within finances. And I think that you guys are going to, at the end of this cycle in March, have this beautiful awareness of how abundant life is with this Empress and the Nine of Cups. I feel like you guys are realizing that your financial situation, although it might not be perfect, has so much potential, as well as has so much already. So it's like, essentially, I feel like you guys are really tuning into the energy of money and the vibration of money. And I think that you guys are making decisions after this period in March, financial decisions based off of you having a stronger sense of self-worth and self-love, and based off of your intuition with this Queen of Cups. This is you guys really like knowing your worth. And because of that, you attract more money and you also spend money wisely so that you're not just having it slip through your fingers. The Empress is also saying that there's not a scarcity mentality. I think that you guys, if you experience that in like the first few months of the year, by March, you guys will have an abundance mindset with the Empress and the Nine of Cups. You guys are realizing that you have the potential to draw in your deepest desires. You have the self-worth and the skills to create those things in your life. And so this feels like a really positive kind of transformative experience with Venus moving through your second house, where you are coming back to yourself, back to your understanding of finances, and back to your self-worth to create a lot of prosperity for yourself. So another event that I wanted to talk about was Venus conjunct Mars and conjunct Pluto in the second house, which is happening on March 2nd. So I definitely feel like this is kind of representing a lot of what I was talking about. Like, this is a day in which you might really start to see how your journey around money and self-worth comes out in the world and becomes really clear. And I feel like with this Fool and this King of Wands card, it's a brand new beginning with finances. It's an opportunity for you guys to realize that you can maybe do things for work that are really passionate and inspiring to you, and that you don't have to fear starting a new chapter if some of you guys want to do that. You guys might have more like a new opportunity coming your way during this time with the Fool card, or a new realization, some kind of like new leaf. Essentially, maybe you are leaving something behind, starting something over. There's some kind of new beginning here, this Fool, and with Mars and Pluto and Venus, all these things are kind of giving you a restart in your finances. And with this King of Wands, I feel like it's going to give you It's going to make you, maybe even just this new beginning is internal. With this King of Wands, it's like making you feel a lot stronger within yourself. One of the things that this card represents is having courage in your convictions. And I feel like that's related to finances. So it's like I have a full understanding and courage in my conviction of how I spend my money, where it comes from. Like, I know that I am the source of this money. I know that I am spending things in the right way. It's like really trusting yourself, really relying on yourself. And so I feel like if there is a new beginning, that's a great energy to have. Or even if the new beginning is just internal, I think it's giving you a sense of confidence and passion in regards to your finances that you maybe haven't had in a while. Okay, let me clear these cards away and talk about the next transit, which is on April 4th, where Venus and Saturn and Mars are all coming together in the sign of Aquarius in your 3rd house. So this is definitely an interesting one. Kind of like what I was saying everything about before, about your mindset and your busyness, and maybe, you know, having a little bit of like that hamster wheel effect. That can definitely become like a focus during this time. Seven of Swords in reverse. Interesting. Queen of Swords. Okay, this is definitely about thinking or communication, because these are, every single one of these cards are swords. So Saturn and Mars are both malefic planets, which essentially means that they are really challenging planets. They are aggressive or burdensome or challenging. I already said challenging, but you know what I'm trying to say. And so both of those are coming into the picture, but then Venus is there too. So that makes me feel like some of these challenges are coming into our relationships. You guys might find that on April 4th, this is a day in which you realize something about a relationship in your life. With the Seven of Swords, the Seven of Swords upright is about having secrets or illusion. And I feel like reversed, it's talking about those things coming to light, especially with the Queen and King of Swords, and having like a really real talk with two people about what is going on. So you guys might find that there's something that comes up from the shadows that you didn't know about somebody, or that somebody hasn't told you, or just something that could be from the past or from something that someone's been thinking about. Regardless, it's like some kind of thing that affects your dynamic with that person. And with the Queen and King of Swords, I feel like both people are coming at this situation almost kind of cold or bluntly or rationally, and really discussing things in like a super honest, transparent way. So where everything is like laid out on the table. And then after that, one of you or both of you have to make a decision about how to move forward. And I think the fact that it's ending with the Two of Swords means that it could be a difficult decision, one that's not going to come to you super easily, super clearly. And I think the reason it ends on the Two of Swords is because some of you guys might make decisions one way and another way. But regardless, you are making decisions with all of the facts, with all of the knowledge of the situation, and you will kind of, be able to know how to move forward after that. So this is some difficult conversation or something coming to light on this day in a relationship with somebody. It could be any kind of relationship where you have a lot of realizations, but then it makes things a little bit harder about where do we go from here. So just kind of keep that in mind. This could be a work relationship, a friend relationship. Regardless, you guys, the advice here is to be extremely honest. Don't hold anything back. Of course, use the right language. Saturn is in the 3rd house, so you have to be responsible and careful with the words that you choose, but still honest, because that's also responsibility. So just kind of remember that around this date, that's a lot of what can happen. Now let's talk about April 13th. This is when Jupiter is going to conjunct Neptune. This is in your 4th house, And this is such a beautiful time for relationships in general. I love Jupiter and Neptune coming together for having creativity and passion, and compassion, like a lot of mutual understanding. And so I think that if you do have a difficult conversation on this day, on April 4th, on the 13th, you can really begin to work on rebuilding whatever may have kind of buckled under this challenge of a scenario. So definitely a good time to improve existing relationships and just understand other people a lot more. And so Jupiter and Neptune in the 4th, I feel like is going to give you guys this really good feeling within the home. So it's like, I'm so happy with the people I live with. I'm so happy with this apartment that I rented, or whatever it is, or I just feel like really emotionally stable within myself and really spiritual and really divinely protected and guided. Those are feelings that I think a lot of us are going to experience at that time on April 13th. And with the Chariot and the Eight of Pentacles, I feel like this is telling me that you guys are going to be building or working towards something that Jupiter and Neptune might give you a vision for. So it could be something that it's in the 4th house. It could be something that eventually becomes sort of a pillar in your life. So if this is like a brand new idea of something to study or something to invest in or something to start doing, that thing can start to become a core or foundational aspect of your personality and your life, since this is the 4th house. So Jupiter and Neptune are the most spiritual planets, and they have this potential to link us to the divine, to God, to give us visions, to give us clarity. So some of you guys might start to experience that at this time, and it's telling you to build upon that with the Eight of Pentacles and use your willpower, use your intuition to essentially invest into whatever vision or anything that comes up. So it's not just about feeling good. I feel like you guys might actually get a potential nugget of wisdom or insight about something that you can go further into in your life on that date. Now let's look at April 30th. We're going to have Venus conjunct Jupiter and Pisces in your 4th house. We got the King, Knight of Swords, the Death card, and the Page of Cups. So Venus and Jupiter are just like my favorite planets. They are the benefic, so the opposite of Mars and Saturn. They are the best planets. They're the planets that create good feelings, benevolence, happiness. They give us opportunities, relationships, money. And so having them come together is always going to be a really profoundly beautiful experience for all of us. Being in your 4th house, again, I feel like this affects you within the home and the family and just emotionally, that kind of thing. So I feel like a lot of you guys might just feel like your relationships within the home are really beautiful. With the Knight of Swords, I feel like it's helping you guys maybe kind of channel your energy in a more, like the Knight of Swords being followed by the Death card to me is saying that there might be some sort of recklessness or quickness or this part of you that throws caution to the wind in your relationships or your communication. Maybe the part of you that has a temper sometimes, or maybe the part of you that says something without thinking, or maybe the part of you who makes impulsive decisions within your life. There is some kind of like quickness or impulsivity that is changing at this time with this death card. I feel like I do think it's around relationships, like some kind of approach to relationships where you dive in or you do things maybe before having the full enchilada. Let me also like look up the Knight of Swords to see if there's anything else I want to add about that card specifically. Okay, it says impulsivity, intelligence, outspokenness, stubbornness, speaking truth to power, directness, focus, strength, boldness, fighting for what you know is right, protection, ambition, taking action. That's exactly what I was thinking, like being really outspoken, impulsive, stubborn, like all of those things in your communication with Saturn in your 3rd, I think you're working on. And so with the Death card, I think that this, at least this moment, I don't know how much it will transform you or not, but this moment in time on April 30th when Venus and Jupiter are aligned in the 4th, it's giving you the opportunity to really like sink in to your communication style and examine ways in which you might have been hasty in communicating or relating with other people, because we have the Page of Cups after, and we're talking about Venus and Jupiter. These are planets about relating, connecting, understanding, having compassion and love for the other person. So I feel like you guys are going to have this brand new perspective of maybe how your words and your boldness, your directness, or just any of that is affecting other people. And so I think that you guys are going to stop that, and you're starting to think much more compassionately and lovingly, and speaking from a place of much more understanding. So this could be a really, really beautiful moment. I don't know how lasting it is or how lasting it. I think it will kind of depend on the work that you've done prior. For some of you, this could be just an amazing week or month or day. And other of you, it could be really, truly having a profound realization about the self that then reverberates or affects the rest of your life. Okay, now let's look at Mars and Aries in your 5th house, making a square to Pluto in your 2nd house on July 1st. So I do feel like this could be connected to March 2nd, when we had Venus, Mars, and Pluto, and I was talking about you guys becoming these incredible manifestors in terms of finances and kind of realizing where your decisions are coming from. But let's see. Mars in the 5th, squaring Pluto in the 2nd. And our 3 of Cups to Emperor and Judgment. So having Mars in the 5th at that time, July 1st, is really energizing your celebratory social aspect of your personality. As a Sagittarius, you guys are fiery and fun and adventurous, and I think that all of those things can really come out when Mars transits your 5th. With the 3 of Cups, it's like going out to drinks with friends, going out to a party, connecting with new relationships or even partners, and it seems just really fun, right? But then it's also squaring Pluto in the 2nd house. So I think that some of those decisions that you made about your finances or living more intuitively or confidently about your self-worth and making financial decisions based off of that, some of those things could be challenged based from your social sphere. So like, let's say like you start improving your money mindset a lot in March. I feel like by July 1st, you guys might find that you're going out a lot, you're eating out a lot, you are extending yourself a lot, maybe paying for your dates, meals, that kind of thing. And you start to discover that you might actually be slipping back into old tendencies and need to really use your awareness and your consciousness to make a decision or to alter that path so you don't keep going down. And that's why I see with the Emperor and the Judgment, I feel like this is saying that no one is static, right? Like just because you did money work doesn't mean you're forever good. We fall back into old tendencies. And I feel like you guys might find that you're very social at that time. And the Emperor and the Judgment card is awakening to you the need to have more discipline and structure around your finances in regards to your social connections and your relationships or like your pleasure activities. So some of you could be gambling, some of you could be traveling and going on vacation, some of you could be eating out a lot, like anything like that that seems really pleasurable and fun but doesn't really invest in ourselves long term. Those things are going to really come under fire in July, and you're going to have a little bit of pressure or, a little bit of pressure on you to make better decisions. And I think you're going to awaken to those changes that have been kind of slipping through the cracks, maybe without you being fully aware of how you've been slipping back into things. You're going to be awakened to that, and it's through the tension, through the pressure that you are awakened to it. On August 1st, we have Mars conjunct Uranus in the 6th house in Taurus. And this is a really big day where things can happen very suddenly. So actually, let me clean up these cards. So Mars with Uranus, things can end really suddenly. Things can begin really suddenly. It's like brings a lot of passion into our lives through just like a realization of what we want to feel, like more free, if that makes sense. So like you guys might have this sudden realization with being in the 6th house, like I no longer want to eat like this. I no longer want to go to bed at this time. I want to feel like liberated and free and feel better, essentially. And so you might make a big change. Or I don't want to have this job anymore. Like I'm over this job. I'm over this responsibility that I've taken on. I'm over always taking care of other people. And you realize on August 1st when Mars and Uranus are there that you want to stop whatever that is, or you want to start something new. But it's squaring Saturn in the 3rd. So I think a lot of you guys might find that you have limiting mindset or limiting beliefs around ending or starting this thing. So if it's like you want to adjust things with your health, then I feel like your mindset could be like something that you really have to work on, because it can be a little bit of a source of pushback in terms of getting what you want. It's like, oh, I can't really do that, or I'm inconsistent, or I feel like I don't want to do that today. So you have to really work on your mindset, or it could be communicating with other people, kind of other people getting their words or their ideas kind of infecting you and feeling like that creates limiting beliefs. This is also making a sextile to Venus and Cancer in the 8th house. So I feel like you guys ending this thing or beginning this thing, specifically related to like responsibility, health, or work, whatever you are starting or ending at that time is extremely healing with Venus, the sextile to Venus in the 8th. It's going to help you overcome like certain shadow aspects of the self. It's going to help you face your mindset, face certain aspects of this. And so I feel like this is really powerful for you guys. 7 of Pentacles, the Devil, King of Swords, 2 of Swords, the Sun. So some of these cards with the King of Swords and 2 of Swords are coming out from what came up with that conversation, which was on April 4th, where some things could come to light. So maybe those related, so maybe not. Okay, so I do kind of feel like this is something related to work, being in the 6th house, and with the 7 of Pentacles, some kind of responsibilities with the Devil card, which is Capricorn. So I do feel like you guys might have certain things that you feel like you are stuck with, certain responsibilities that with the King of Swords, you are realizing really quickly that you don't want to have these responsibilities anymore, or you realizing like this new responsibilities that you want to start, but you have limiting beliefs around them. So it's like something about starting or ending a certain responsibility or new thing in your life, or ending an old thing, and just realizing really honestly like how that feels and what you want to do with it moving forward. And again, I feel like your mindset with this square with Saturn in the 3rd is getting in the way, creating indecision, is creating indecision, but then it ends in the Sun. So I feel like you guys gain clarity around your purpose. You gain clarity about what to do, and you make that decision, and it's extremely healing in that way. You guys are able to have the path forward illuminated. And then I feel like from here, you guys have this crazy power of shifting things in your life. So I think you'll start manifesting things that are much more in alignment. You'll start noticing that things start working out for you with this Wheel of Fortune card. So don't let this fear of Saturn in the 3rd house get you down. Don't let this self-doubt get in your way. Whatever you're meant to start or end in terms of work or responsibilities in August 1st or around August 1st is meant to be stopped or started. So just allow those things to kind of flow instead of blocking them through the mind and worry and anxiety, because it's healing for you, it's helpful for you, and you'll become a stronger manifester by releasing whatever that is or stepping into whatever it is. The last thing I want to talk about before we wrap up with your animal cards is Mars going retrograde in the sign of Gemini. I don't know if you've heard that, but my stomach just growled, so time to get some breakfast. Okay, these were the same cards that I pulled before, so I'm going to shuffle the deck. Mars is retrograding in Gemini, which is your 7th house of relationships, between October 30th and January 13th. So during this time, we are meant to really pull back our energy and reflect the way that we show up for other people. So if you guys are someone who's a really big giver, or you have a lot of interactions and social things to keep up, Mars retrograding through your 7th house is asking you to maybe spend more time alone, or more time kind of analyzing whether or not you want to invest in certain relationships, or if you want to keep giving of yourself in certain ways to other people. It's about your dynamics with others that you need to pull your energy back and reflect on. Otherwise, we keep moving forward and we make the same mistakes or same decisions unconsciously. So we have to have times of reflection to really check in with ourselves about how we feel or think about certain things. So October 30th to January 13th of 2023 is your chance to do that in your relationship dynamics. I just pulled the 2 of Cups. Wow, you guys, this is, talk about relationships. What does this Mars retrograde mean for my beautiful Sagittarius risings? 9 of Pentacles and the Lovers. Okay, you guys, if this isn't about relationships, I don't know what is. These are the 2 relationship cards. These are the soulmate cards, the partnership cards. So some of you guys might find that certain people from the past come back into your life with these cards. You guys, because Mars, any retrograde brings up things from the past. So it can bring up, I feel like it could bring up past flames, if that's related to some of you guys. But I definitely feel like this is your time with the 9 of Pentacles to take your confidence, your independence, this self-reliance, this really strong person within you, and examine your relationships. Examine your relationship with yourself with the Lovers card, and examine your relationships with any like soulmates. It could be friend soulmates, it could be partner soulmates, any like really deep, intimate relationships. This is your time to reflect on those from a place of strength and independence. So I think that for some of you guys, you might find that you get much closer to the people that you love through this cycle, because it's really asking you to reflect on where you are showing up for them and where that person is showing up for you, what you think about that dynamic. And again, it creates this level of consciousness. So whenever there's more consciousness, there's more of an ability to relate and to connect deeply. And so having that time to reflect is going to bring you guys closer, because you're going to intimately understand the needs of your partner, the needs of yourself, the needs of your friends, whoever this is talking about. And it's going to help you also come at the relationship from a place of independence as well. So if you guys have been maybe showing up in relationships in certain ways where you like require a lot of help from them, or you're really leaning on them, which we all lean on people, we all should lean on people. But if you are doing that too much or too little, that's also something that I feel like you guys are going to examine with this 9 of Pentacles. Like, what's my giving and receiving like? How am I showing up versus the other person, which is exactly what I was saying earlier. So I think that this is going to be a really beautiful time of union. A lot of times Mars moving through the 7th house can have this kind of polarizing effect where sometimes it will really draw people to us and make us very attracted or focused on relationships, which I think you will be. But it can also create more arguments. It can also bring up past arguments. But all those things that are coming up, those past issues, or even people from the past, are going to be resolved and create a much stronger, healthier union where, again, you are like independent to the right degree. So that's what I'm seeing for that. Let's go ahead and wrap up with your animal cards. So I'm going to pull an animal for you starting off the year. You have the fish, and an animal for you ending the year. You have the owl. Wow. So I feel like you guys are maybe starting off this year definitely feeling that Saturn in the 3rd house with a little bit of busyness, a little bit too much worrying, kind of treading water in a lot of ways. Like the fish has a little bit of anxiety or is affected by the collective mentality or collective consciousness and energy around it. It's affected by the school that it swims in. So you guys might find that what's going on in the world is affecting you a little bit more at the beginning of the year, and it's causing maybe you to have a little bit more anxiety, or maybe just people and circumstances around you can do that. You guys might feel, again, like quite busy, and just like a lot of dispersing of energy mixed with worry. But then you end the year on the owl. And I feel like this is you guys doing a really deep dive into yourself, your own awareness, and coming out with a lot more wisdom about yourself and life. And I think the owl is one of the most beautiful cards for really tapping into our intuition. As I mentioned with the South Node in your 12th house, you guys can unlock spiritual gifts from past lifetimes. And I really see that with this card. I think that you guys can start to integrate that into your life. You're going to start working more from your intuition in regards to finances. You're going to start having more responsibility and carefulness with your words and your thinking. And I think it leads to this kind of wisdom that the owl represents. So you guys are leaving more intuitive and wiser than you are starting off this year. So that is super beautiful for you, Sagittarius. If you guys do want a reading for your personal chart, then go ahead and check that out for 2022 in the description box below. And if this resonates, please give me a like, a subscribe, and a comment down below. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful holiday and a beautiful new year. Bye.